Shout out
Speaking of issues, man, we gotta talk about boom, 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 and 3-6, man. They went in, man, like great, show per se. Obviously, you had Busy over here getting busy. That's why he got the name. You know what I'm saying? Jay Kent, what was your thoughts just on the actual show? You know what I'm saying, as far as the hits are concerned, before we go into the drama.
Man, you know what's so funny too, before I get right to that question, is that Busy actually started out as Crazy. That was his name.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they swapped a lot of them swapped bone names. Yeah, a lot of them swapped names.
Archives.
So that's why you knew like that dude really is off the chain. But anyhow, man, me and B-Boy P was chatting about this like when it happened, and this is like once I actually kind of took a step back a little bit. Not to say that I would have done the exact same act, but if you feel somebody is mocking you on stage when you're performing, that is slightly different.
Especially when you're coming in with the respect and the legends that they are, man. You did the track with Big. Come on, man.
Yeah, and I did watch like the Crunchy Black interview too with Vlad, where he said basically he's not really sure what Busy was talking about because they put the mics down whenever Bone was performing. You know what I'm saying? So wouldn't nothing be going on. But he said that where it might have got misconstrued was Gangsta Boo was like singing the part of Busy.
Oh, okay.
So she wasn't mocking him. She was like, you know what I'm saying, trying to get the crowd amped up. But from Busy's standpoint, though, I mean, again, if you believe another man is mocking you or a woman is mocking you on stage while you performing a hit, a classic, yo, I would kind of feel some type of way about that too. But the act, he did go a little too far to me with the act, because you just can't call nobody ugly MFers, man. That's like that's like spitting on somebody. You call another grown man an ugly MFer.
Like LB's in the building.
Detroit's finest. Detroit's finest.
What's good, L? But it was definitely an antic idea, and it shouldn't have happened, man. It really was a black eye for hip hop when that took place, because these are two super legendary groups, man. I mean, the imprint and the impact that they've had on the game, where a bunch of others have really tried to take their style. I mean, let's be clear with that. You know what I'm saying? But that should have never took place, man. It's sad that it happened, but again, I can't just go all the way in on Busy, because he did say, I mean, he qualified like, look, I felt they was mocking me, and
hey, Switchy didn't say nothing either.
Not because he said Busy basically said he would never do that to another artist. So he just took it the wrong way, and it should have been one of those things where he should have just handled that differently. And he even admitted that too. It should have been handled differently. So shout out to Busy for at least accepting the fact that he did definitely overreact. It shouldn't have happened. And I'm glad that the show got on as you know, as it should have.
And just real quick, J. Kent, what was your thoughts just on the hits?
Man, 3-6 just got too many hammers. You know, Bone has more of the smashers. You know what I'm saying? The ones that's just gonna live on
at the crossroads. Them TRL joints. Those. That was like TRL and crazy.
Right. They got the box, the TRL joints. Yeah. But 3-6 got them club bangers.
Without them Jacquees vocals though.
Boo boo. Boo boo. But and thing is, in 3-6 didn't even get in all the way into the bag. Paul said they had like 10 more joints queued up.
I mean, they've been doing stuff since 92. Come on, man.
Yeah. They didn't even get into that Mrs. Don't Play bag. They didn't even hit that album. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
they didn't even hit that.
LB, go ahead, double dutch in there real quick, man.
Well, no, I was just gonna say, even some of the solo stuff that they could have touched on, right? So that's all I was going to throw out
Juicy
there.
J solo boy.
Yeah, I mean the stuff that because based on other verses, we know that like people will get into some of their solo cuts or cuts that they had with other people and stuff like that. So that was also, I mean, if you start to get into that, man, like Bone stood a chance at maybe like 5 joints, 6 joints.
That's it.
But once you got to 10, it was
they didn't come out the gate either, LB. They didn't come out the gate well. Like the first 4 cuts, it was basically over. Like 3-6 came out with, oh my God, dude, that came out with that AK. And maybe Busy was feeling some type of way about that because 3-6 left no stone unturned. They came to win. And I appreciate that.
Well, that's how you got to do that. That's how you got to do it, man. You got to come out.
You got to. And they couldn't match it. You know what I'm saying? They came out, because Bone is more of a mellow group. Like, we know that.
Yeah.
But a lot of their first cuts was like all mellow. And 3-6 had the who run it? Who run it? You know what I'm saying? Like, just the club anthem.
Bebo, jump in, Bebo.
Yeah. Well, just from a quick overall stance as far as this show, minus the antics, I think that it was good. I think that it was good, minus what happened. I just think at the same time, and Jay Camp mentioned this, or at least alluded to the fact that you're talking about two different groups with 2 different styles. So it's kind of hard to match somebody up with Bone. Especially, it might be easier to match somebody up with like a 3-6. As far as
what would have been a better versus for Bone?
See, that's the thing. Question. That's a big question mark. The biggest comparison that I've recently made
might be do or die.
Do or die, exactly.
Well, and this thing, I totally agree with what J Cam said. Like you got a club banger group, and then you got like a harmony group.
Yes, there's not many harmony groups, and I think J Camp made a good example right there.
Great example, man.
But I think that they both did their thing nonetheless. I mean, obviously,
they did.
3-6, they had the bigger catalog, I guess, but I saw it on YouTube, and I don't know if this was just because of like the core fan base being the core fan bases, but more people was rooting Bone being the winner, even after the end.
Cleveland's in the house.
They still did their thing, and it reminded me that I was reminded that Lazy Bone is more of the hype individual as well as Busy than Lazy's. Crazy's more in the cut. You know what I'm saying?
Let's be 100. Where I'm from, pretty much everybody look like Bone anyway. You know what I mean? They grew up on it, so LB know the drill. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
And to your point, Bebo, Bone was more impactful like early in my life, like early 90s. Bone was definitely more impactful. I mean, they had hits with Big Pop, Easy. Everybody, man. So
they work with the legends.
Hey, man, they were the first one to talk about a food stamp. Come on, man. Welfare, man. First of the month.
Speaking of that, they didn't perform that first of the month.
They didn't. Because they didn't come with them hammers. But that's why I would say 3-6 brought out
selection
Wayne,
was weak,
and they even brought out Terrence Howard. That was a body blow because Terrence Howard is from Cleveland. That was a straight rib shot.
But what's kind of funny, man, is getting back to where you guys are talking about like crucial conflict or even do or die or whatever. But those 2 groups only kind of match in style to
Bone.
And that's
what
I was getting at. Not the catalog.
Dude, Bone would destroy both them groups. It wouldn't even be fair. It wouldn't be a fair. We were just kind of saying, like, as far as like comparison of style,
who matches up style wise. But that's it. After that, like it's a wrap for both of them groups as far as if they were to, go against somebody like a Bone.
Yep.
So
I mean, because even with 3-6, you would have to combine groups. You would have to have Lil Jon out there, Yin Yang Twins. I mean, you would have to throw a bunch of groups to compete with their catalog.
They had a little Scrappy out there, all of them.
You got to have everybody, man, to compete with their catalog because it's so heavy.
You had a
little Scrappy with the balls on you.
The So Def All Stars, like all.
Hey man, but this thing, what do y'all think about all the niggas on stage when this stuff goes down? Like
you guys know how I feel
man,
about that. I mentioned that on the
go ahead, Bebo.
Go ahead, Bebo.
No, that's all I was gonna say. I was just saying, y'all know how I feel from my comments on the Locks and Dipset situation where that happened. That's all I was gonna say about that. Y'all go ahead with the rest of the talking point.
Yeah, man. Here's the thing, man. It's sort of like a throwback, right, to how rappers got down back in the day, right?
Yeah, put 80 niggas on stage.
Yeah. Like for the people who don't know, the shows that rappers put on these days is like eons ahead of what they used to do back in the 90s.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Because, back then, that's what it was. They just brought 70 of their homeboys on stage, and they literally just yelled and screamed
with boo-boo sound.
No dancers.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was one of the reasons why MC Hammer could have so much success.
I was just about to say that.
And the reason why he went broke.
Drop a bomb, because that man put on an epic performance.
But yeah, his performances were just out of this world. I think what a lot of people probably really haven't paid homage to, a lot of people will pay homage like, oh man, shouts out to this person, that person, that's where I got this from and that from. But a lot of rappers that have the ill like stage shows now, they need to pay homage to Hammer, because he was one of the first to actually have like a really good like concert and show. Because back in the 90s, man, a lot of them shows was just, I mean, it was bad. It wasn't until the Hard Knock Life tour before we started actually getting like some real good like stage.
Yeah, where you actually had like a robot arm putting Redman and them over the crowd, like they actually.
But Hammer would have full sets. Like each song would have its own individual set. He might have a line running out there.
Well, see, Hammer was one of the first concerts that I went to. You know what I'm saying?
Me
He was
too.
one of the first rappers to even come to my hometown. You know what I'm saying? Because Evansville ain't, but so big. But
shout out to Robert Stadium.
Shout out to Robert Stadium. But one of the things that I do remember about that is MC Hammer had a whole section where not only did his band get like a solo sesh, each one of his dancers got like a solo sesh.
And remember the guy that had the triangle little head,
crazy legs. I think it was like crazy legs.
He died? I don't know if he does.
I'm not sure, but he had that he had that little like swoop up like Sean Wayans back in
the little like church, like the little Pope joint.
Yeah. But he would point to each one of the dudes, and it'd be like 40 dudes on stage, and they would each get a little solo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But so what was happening here with Bone and 3-6 and all of that is it was kind of like a throwback to how like rap shows used to be. And as you guys alluded to, man, thank God that we don't have to deal with that mess no more, because it's like it was terrible. It was like, I might as well just play this CD at home if you're gonna come out here and give this bad of a performance. You know what I'm saying? So,
exactly.
Here's the thing though about that, El, to tag team from from you on that is excellent points, fellas. I don't really have much to say as far as like what was done back in the 90s as far as like 60, 70 cats on stage, and then you don't whatever. But I think that I do want to say, just to go back to the Busy situation, if I could add my 2 cents. I thought it was I think it's interesting to point out that Busy, he had pointed out that he hadn't seen professionalism like what the Verzuz team was all about in like a long time. And this was prior to, like, just before the show actually happened. He was basically giving kudos to the professionalism, but yet, the optics of what happened was the opposite by way of Busy. So I do want to highlight that on the front end, just to answer, the initial question, or at least one of them about, the antics or the optics of it all. At the same time, I do see the other side of it too. And I did like what Jay Camp said, and I kind of stepped back on some things, and I was like, okay, something did happen to Busy in his youth. And if for those who know the story, you know what I'm saying, and there was that old show that helped to get him back, him and his 2 stepsisters or sisters, that America's Most Wanted show, and and all that. So you don't have to. We don't have to go into those grand details, but when you fast forward to him as an adult, and you see some of the reasons why he didn't wear certain outfits or costumes, why he didn't wear the war paint on the Art of War, as everybody else did, you know.
Yeah.
But then you fast forward to Verzuz, and you have somebody saying SMD, you know what I'm saying? From a psychological standpoint, that could have served as a trigger. So
facts.
You know what I'm saying? You never know. And I'm not justifying the behavior, and it was good that he apologized. I just wanted to just highlight that, because if most of us know it, then they likely knew it too, especially if they're like, you know, mocking him in a certain fashion, like gyrating as he was spitting his verse, you know, of a certain song or whatever. So you just never know. It could have been the throwing the rock or hiding the hand situation, but nonetheless, it was still a bad look, and I'm glad.
I understand what J Camp said too, as far as like Gangsta Boo, kind of like you're singing it, but it's like, hey man, let me do my thing. We don't need you to get the hype. We don't need you to get the crowd hype.
She called him the cis word. You know what I'm saying? That was another thing. It's funny you mentioned her. So
yeah, she did. You know, but I think, but that's after he said the ugly MFers though. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like to me, that's gonna set anybody off. Come on, you call anybody an ugly MFer on this here show. You know what I'm saying? We gonna say something.
Nah, man, I love it. I love it. Hey, but no, that's real talk. That's a very good point, Bebo P, man. Is that you definitely need to know the background of individuals and things that they go through, because although it's not an excuse or it doesn't justify anything, it can at least give you a bit more insight into maybe why it takes somebody else. You know, they might need you know, a little bit more patience or a little bit more leash of understanding because of situations that they might have been through. So very good point, man. That's a good point to drive home.
No doubt. And let me just say this point real quick before I guess we move on to the next situation, unless the you know, grand host ID wants to mention this. Is I think the flip side, it kind of goes back to, you know, the optics not being good whenever something like that happens. You got to understand too, whether you're Bone, whether you're, you know, 3-6, whether you're Shaka Khan or whoever on that platform, you got to understand you haven't been on. Let me just say, Verzuz is you could say it's mainstream, and it's a mainstream outlet for, you know, cats who were rocking in their prime that is no longer in their prime as far as charts and you know. Modern,
you're basically redoing old records.
So
you messing up the bag too.
Well, you're messing up the bag.
I mean, you have sponsorships behind you, and
you got sponsorships, and like you're after how long from you being in the mainstream light? You don't. The last thing you want to do, in addition to the bag and, you know, the sponsorships that you brothers mentioned, is you don't want to mess up the look of things. You don't want to mess up. Though you don't want to mess up the image for those who don't really know who you are, that know of you, since we're in another generation. So I just wanted to highlight that too.
Well, the other thing too is Swiss, which is one of the creators of Verzuz, was like he had a couple gripes, which was number one, these groups charge 5 times more than groups from other cultures, but then also he had this, you know, thing of like, you know, they were asking for some pastor or some preacher from like Canada. They were asking for like all this extra stuff,
right.
Somebody,
you know, that was like then they wanted they paid like a couple times in advance, but then they was like, look, just come on time, and they came late. So he had a lot of issues. So L, you know, obviously we've dealt with niggas in the past, man. Been on tours, been on shows. What was your thoughts on that take from Swiss?
You know,
J Camp's favorite producer.
J Camp's favorite producer for sure, hands down. So I think that it was two-sided for me, right? Which is that the hip-hop side of me loves to know some of that background information about things that go on and how they transpire and all of those things. But the other side of me kind of wanted it to not be out there for everybody, because sometimes people just take that information and then they associate that's the headline, and they associate it with all the rest of us and say all them fools is charging 5x and all of them showing up late and all, you know what I'm saying? So that's why it was a little bit two-sided to me as far as that. But you know, Swiss is right, you know what I'm saying? But I also think, you know, that comes along with, as we kind of said, having that mainstream platform, right? That people see that, hey man, you getting them Apple dollars, you know, you get money from a company or whoever. I mean, because they didn't go with Apple though, they went with what was it, TikTok?
Something like that, yes.
Anyways, basically a very large tech company, right? with probably
that wouldn't normally mess with them if they wasn't on that platform.
Yeah, with probably billions in the coffers. And when people see something like that, they are gonna charge you a premium, man. You know what I'm saying? Because they're gonna look at you and say, listen, it looks like you get money over here. And just in case, I don't know if you getting all of this money off of my back. I want to get paid what I'm owed. Do I think they should constantly be doing that? And should they be treating, like the black people different than they treat the white people? No. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's the case, but if that is bad. But I also think it is a little bit of an indication to the success of the platform, right? Is that you have this successful platform, people gonna see that, be like, I normally charge about $500, $750.
What other thing too? I mean, if I'm in Indianapolis doing a concert and I'm doing a Super Bowl, I'm going to charge Super Bowl prices for the Super Bowl.
You charge Super Bowl prices, yeah. So some of that is attributed to that. Now, if they win 5x, that's, to me, when I do that math, it seems a little extreme. It more seems like, hey man, maybe you 2x it and maybe max 3x it because of that platform. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, if it's Super Bowl, let's charge Super Bowl prices. So I can.
And I'll give you the MC Hammer show and all that.
Yeah.
With the little kids.
I bring out the little kids in the choir and the LED lights.
Doing the typewriter in front of the kids.
Oh, yeah. We'll even get one of them little pyrotechnic little dudes, you know what I'm saying? We'll get it popping, you know what I'm saying? Get the little fake crowd in the back. We'll get all that, you know what I'm saying?
Facts.
But long story short, man, go ahead, end this off, J. Kemp. Like, what was the overall just... If you had to put this in a bottle, man, what's the whole thing, man? And also, how can we do a better job with the hood performances? You know what I'm saying?
Man, just to kind of put a bow on it, man. Again, like Bebo said, I mean, it was definitely a good show. I just think we got to put this stuff into perspective. Yes, it's a competition at the end of the day. You going versus another group. But at the end of the day, we got to link arms, man. We can't be in the position.
It's supposed to be a celebration, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be a celebration. It's supposed to be a celebration. And maybe it needs to be something to where if it's groups or even individuals, like you just kind of come together beforehand and just kind of discuss, like, look, I'm not going to disrespect you. You kind of have to have some man code out there. I really like that idea. Almost like some boxer type stuff. Like, hey, we come out here,
have a press conference
beforehand.
Yeah, we're gonna come out here, we're gonna do this.
Idea right there.
You know what I'm saying? But
we're gonna have a good show. We're gonna do this, do that.
Yeah, but make it very positive, kind of like pre-boxing, presser or whatever. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, because obviously Busy doesn't know 3-6 or any other individual.
It's like they never even met before, type stuff.
Yeah, and you can tell because when you.
But they've been beefing for years, though. They have been.
But this thing, you sit them down, though. You know what I'm saying?
But this is the reason why you would sit down. You've been beefing for years. We coming together to do this event for the culture.
Yeah,
because there is there's a bigger ball of wax out there. There's a bigger picture.
Right.
Okay. And I think that they have to come together for the culture, for hip hop, because, and again,
I agree.
You don't want the image of Bone to be, they just gonna fight whoever's on stage. Like, I heard this and this about Bone, and now, I see him for the first. Again, you got kids who's 20, 21, 22, watching Bone for the first time, and they see that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And it's not like LB said. It's not. They're not used to seeing a million dudes on stage, unless they somewhere locally. Unless you go to your local concert.
It's not even physically responsible to have that many people on stage.
Ask MC Hammer.
Most people are like Roddy Ricch. You just get one person. That's it.
It's got to be a fire hazard.
Well, and this is the thing. It's his scene to get your fresh out coffee mug. Maybe that'll help out with some of the. Your Negro, if you have any Negro friends that you're having problems with, get her that. Get a shot glass. You can get one of those too.
Nah, not the Negro friends, nah. Not the
Negro. Like one, I'm not racist. I have one Negro friend. Well, I'm a fresh out. A Friday they go on sale. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and get you one. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if you like what my brothers are doing, hit the Cash App. Fresh Out Show. You got some dough. Go ahead and hit it.
Mm-hmm. Cash me outside.
Yeah, you know.
Cash me outside.
You know what I'm saying? Cash me outside.
That's right, baby.
Ooh.